Don't ever let anyone tell you you're ugly because you're fat. I'm not ugly because I'm fat. I'm ugly because I'm ugly.
Hey everybody, hope you're doing really well. Welcome back. For today's video, we're looking at our next logical fallacy in fat acceptance.
The fallacy!
For today, it's going to be false equivalencies, basically the fallacy of comparing apples and oranges.
Actually, we were just talking about me not going to Ross's wedding. It might be too hard given the history and all that.
Wow, this reminds me of the time when I was living on the street and this guy offered to buy me food if I slept with him.
How is this like that?
Oh, let's see, it's not. Really, because you see, that was an actual problem, and yours is just like, a bunch of, high school crap.
That's kind of what today's video is gonna feel like. Whenever we're comparing or equating two things that are way more unalike than they are alike to make a point, it's usually a fallacy. It can be totally harmless.
My mom always said life was like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get.
Or you do something like comparing health and wellness professionals to those who try to engineer a perfect human race.
I don't know if you have noticed this, but there's a very clear pipeline between the health and wellness community and right-wing fascism. And I think that entry point for the pipeline is eugenics. Because a lot of the health and wellness circle talks about there being a correct, ideal way to have a body. And if your body doesn't meet this really narrow standard, you are a failure, you're not trying hard enough, you are lazy, and thus you are inferior to us. Which kind of starts to sound like genetic purity. And their very effective recruitment technique targets young white boys through misogyny and fatphobia primarily.
The logic does not resemble our Earth logic.
There is obviously no equivalence here, moral or otherwise. Activists in the fat acceptance space use this fallacy in attempt to leverage some of the emotional charge that we feel in the face of actual immoralities. Sam at Every Size did a great video about this specifically because it's a comparison that actually gets made a lot. Like this person who believes that if you're proposing anything based on how it will solve the obesity epidemic, aka get rid of fat people, then you're proposing fascist eugenics policies. The first fallacy here is actually a fallacy of equivocation. Solving the obesity epidemic does not literally mean eradicating fat humans from the population, but they need to interpret it that way in order to make the false equivalence. The phrase "as long as you're healthy" also gets misconstrued here to serve the fat acceptance agenda.
When we are asking people to prove their health status in order to be accepted or acceptable, we are not only operating under a healthist paradigm, we are walking in the footsteps of eugenics. If your fat politic does not allow for a range of abilities and a range of health statuses, it is literally useless. Accepting fat people with the caveat, as long as they're healthy, isn't progressive, it's violent. It fails to acknowledge the denial of access to healthcare that fat people face. It fails to acknowledge the systemic design of fatphobia.
Bombastic rhetoric like this is really only compelling to the people who are already on your team, and making these ridiculous comparisons comes at a cost.
Just like lumping all black people in one group and saying, I don't like black people is...
We're not doing this today. We are not comparing fatphobia to racism.
Not only is it disrespectful and ignorant to draw these comparisons, but it's actually harmful to the groups and issues that you're claiming solidarity with when you do it. Take this seminar from Virgie Tovar comparing diet culture to R-word culture. Or this random Instagram post that says, let's call diet culture what it is: violence against women. If you really think this equation is balanced, try it in reverse. Let's call violence against women what it is: diet culture.
You hear how dumb you sound?
When you say something is like racism or like violence against women, and it's not just explicitly those things, what you're actually doing is desensitizing people to those words and minimizing those issues while simultaneously delegitimizing your own. But hey, the trade-off is at least maybe now someone will think twice before daring to wish health on another person.
Worth it.
You
purposely saying, I want to lose 20 pounds is fatphobia.
Next up, we have the assertion that you're literally engaging in fat body's oppression if you're on a weight loss journey. You're literally not. You're literally attempting to lose weight. And this person equates weight loss to violence because you're disliking a part of your body to the point you want to eradicate it. Apply that logic to someone who wants their melanoma removed. Why so violent? Surely some cute bikini pics with a hashtag about how all bodies are good bodies should be equally as therapeutic. And if you're considering weight loss surgery, according to this person, you're actually considering voluntary amputation. So let's call it what it really is, right?
The dimension of imagination. It is an area which we call the Twilight Zone.
So this is the Pride section. There were 0 plus size options in store. And again, this section was pretty neat, you know, pretty tidy, pretty well kept. So they only carry plus size Pride merch online. And this is just more footage of the Pride section only going up to an XXL. And there were baby clothes and pet items in the Pride section. They prioritized dogs ahead of fat people. Regardless of your views on fat people and weight loss, we deserve to be treated better than animals.
And while some of us can only imagine what it's like to be treated worse than an animal, plus-size Target shoppers have experienced it. Maybe next year the Pride merch will be more size inclusive and nobody will be subjected to this level of subhuman treatment by a corporation ever again. We're gonna call this one here. I can only take so many of these at one time. I really appreciate y'all coming to hang out on this video with me. Let me know what you thought down below, and if you can think of any false equivalencies that I missed, share them with the rest of us. I really do hope everyone's doing well and taking care. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.